Two Worlds, One Family by Dragon Translator. Chapter 47, Rescue. Astrid stared up at the mountain of a man. Alvin the Treacherous, though as tall as Stoic, had more mass, making Astrid wonder how Stoic got the title Vast. She mentally kicked that thought aside. She had a duty and a task. Errant thoughts would get her killed. "You get the book, lass." In answer, Astrid patted the bag she wore. Alvin's eyes narrowed and he held out his head. "The deal was I get my parents," Astrid said, affecting the tone Heather used. "Deals change, lass. Give me the book and you might live to make yourself useful." Astrid's eyes narrowed. Gyda had warned Alvin was like to go back on things he promised. He was not named the Treacherous for nothing at all, after all. "You won't get any help from the book if you don't know what to do what it says," Astrid said, mind whirling into another plan. "I watched them. I saw how they worked with those animals. I can show you what to do." Calling any dragon an animal now made Astrid want to rip out her tongue. What had been thought of as the offspring of lightning and death itself had seen in a young Viking teen what his tribe was blind to, and through love brought it out for all to see. A deadly nadder, whose fire was the hottest of all known species, had the gentleness and care to lift a small Viking child after he tripped over a rock. That same dragon danced and waved her wings while crooning a soft song until the child smiled and giggled. A monstrous nightmare, the fiercest species known, aided another Viking teen learn the true meaning of teamwork and living in a tribe. A Gronkel, whose hide could turn a blade and an axe, stood for a different Viking teen until he learned to stand for himself, and now aided him to become the next Bork. A hideous zippleback, two heads to easily trick warriors that once faced it, now kept twins from blowing up Berg, but allowed them a chance to let their creativity soar and prove even pranks could bring smiles instead of danger. Alvin smirked. "We shall see, lass. Savage, take her to the arena." The man that met them on the shore walked up and grabbed Astrid's arm. She grunted but did not fight as he guided her out of the outcasts' version of a great hall and to their pitiful dragon arena. Astrid did not want to think of the dragons that had died in its stone walls. She just hoped she was giving Gyda enough time to find Heather's family and the other dragons Alvin held. After Gyda warned Alvin would renege on his deal, Astrid told her they would split up. Astrid, as Heather, would keep Alvin's attention, and Gyda, as an unnamed Berkian that did not want to live with the dragons that ate her child, could do the stealthier part. Astrid knew Hiccup would not like this fact, but missions changed on a fly when faced with enemy opposition. Her mother always said that when she grew up. And she learned to fight and protect the tribe. "Aye, lass," Alvin said, gesturing to the arena's opening. "I've had it." Astrid stepped in and steeled herself so that she would not jump when the gate slammed shut. She caught sight of Gyda moving behind the ring of Alvin's men watching, staring down through the chain roof. Knowing the mage was nearby calmed Astrid. She took a deep breath and stared at the gated door opposite her as one of the men began to lift the log holding it closed. Astrid sighed in relief as a blue and silver nadder walked out, wings outstretched and screeching at Astrid. It rushed. Astrid slid into its blind spot. It twitched. Astrid stayed in its blind spot, but made subtle movements to get the nadder to turn. She wanted the dragon between her and Alvin for the next part. "Hope none of you squeamish," Alvin called out to his men. "You're about to see a dragon eat a girl." Astrid grunted. She kept twitching as the dragon did to stay in its blind spot. One twitch fell wrong. The nadder's eyes stared at Astrid. Astrid smiled. "I know the common tongue," she whispered, knowing the dragon would hear her even with the shouting men. "I won't hurt you. I'm here to save you." The dragon jerked, chittering. It backed off, wings flapping and squawking. Astrid followed it. keeping her movement free of any tension the dragon could interpret as aggression. I live in a nest. Dragons are flock. The Nada froze, head jerking left and right. It stepped forward, nostrils flaring. It squawked and then chittered. You smell of dragons, but no blood, it said, its voice female. Dragons are flock where I live. I'm here to get you out. They won't let me free. I will make them. Will you work with me? Yes. Pretend you are going to bite me. The Nada quirked her head but followed Astrid's order. Astrid slid left as the Nada's mouth closed where she had been standing. Those watching cheered. I see, the Nada said. We are play fighting, like hatchlings and fledglings do. Yes, I have a friend here to help me, but she needs time. Let's give him a show. The Nada chittered. She spun. Astrid ducked. The tail, spikes closed, flew over her. The men watching cheered again. The Nada tried to bite Astrid again. Astrid rolled under the jaw. More cheering. Shoot your spikes, but up and towards the chains. Astrid whispered as she stood, facing the Nada. The Nada's tail lifted, spikes extended. Well, Astrid heard Alvin say, this'll solve our heather problem. Astrid ducked. The spikes sailed up. Men squawked and dove aside. Those not in the path laughed. Astrid rolled, tipping her head. The Nada's tail lifted. More spikes flew. Astrid ducked. The laughing men screeched and hit stone. Astrid grinned. The Nada chortled. Then Astrid heard the sound she had been waiting for. A sizzling crack that had every man looking up. No clouds, Alvin said. Where'd that lightning come from? Another crack, and the chain above the arena flared in a shower of sparks. Astrid moved to the Nada's side. Time to go. May I ride on your back? Yes. Astrid hopped on. Alvin saw her. Kill her! Swords slid free of their sheaths. Lightning fell upon each. Their wielders screeched and dropped them. Alvin growled. He ran to the gate, pulling it up. Rush up! The Nada screeched, following Astrid's order. Alvin drew his sword. Lightning found its mark. Alvin screamed. The bolt had been bigger. He jumped aside as the Nada opened her mouth, fire building. Once free, her wings flared and she was airborne in moments. Shoot her down! Bad idea! A voice boomed. Gyda, upon a ledge above the arena, looked down, one hand with lightning curling around it, and the other with a fireball the size of a kickball Astrid remembered playing with as a kid. Witch! Someone yelled. Gyda laughed, the sound dark. Lightning bolts struck stone. Firebolts grazed skin. Some men ran. Alvin bellowed at them, but none listened. Lightning and fire rained down. Savage rushed to Alvin's side. Sir, we can't get to the girl for the witch! Shoot the witch! Fire! The Nada fire streamed through the area. We have to leave! Savage yelled. We'll die, sir! It's just two girls! Wrong! Shadow fire swooped over. A tight stream of fire that glowed white in the middle roared out of its muzzle. An archer aiming at his mother felt the full force of the stream. He screamed until he could scream no more. Gyda jumped onto her son's back. He rolled right, his belly between the remaining archers and his mother. Arrows clinked off his scales. More fire rained from the dragon and mother alike. Another archer's bow was silenced. Shadowfire's wings beat, and he and his mother placed themselves between Astrid and the archers. Lightning from Gyda and fire from Shadowfire broke the archers' will. They ran for a cavern opening carved into the side of a mountain. Plasma blast! Purple fireballs vaporized the chain above Alvin's head. Savage yanked Alvin's arm. We have to get in, sir! Alvin growled. He followed Savage into the cavern. This ain't over with! He yelled, looking up. A ball of lava, courtesy of Meatlug, fell at his feet. Savage yanked Alvin in. Hiccup pointed up and out from the island. The dragon's beams beat. Go to the rocky area to the west, Gyda called. Heather's parents are with some dragons I freed from the caves below the arena. You didn't stay with Astrid? Hiccup asked. Gyda looked at him, eyebrow raised. Astrid watched Toothless bob a bit, and Hiccup focused forward. They banked right. That's a wild dragon's nest! Fishlegs cried. Several Nadas, Nightmares and Gronkles faced a whispering death, a Scaldron and a Changewing. Next to the Scaldron stood two humans that held each other and stared at all the dragons. The bigger group growled at the 3 dragons. They responded but did not move from beside the humans. Astrid saw Gyda tap Shadowfire's neck. He dove, landing between the groups. The bigger group snarled, Shadowfire growled and flared his wings. She heard Hiccup hiss. "Please fly closer to the Windshrieker," she asked the Nada in a whisper, remembering only at the last moment to use the dragon name for Toothless's species. She suspected the Nada did not know the human one. "His rider is the alpha of my nest, and I must speak with him." "He will let you approach?" "I am his intended." The Nada tilted her head, staring at Astrid, before chirping and flying closer to Toothless. "Hiccup!" Astrid called. "Why?" Astrid sighed. "Gyda warned me as we came over that Alvin would go back on his deal with Heather. I told her to slip away, and I would distract them long enough that she could find Astrid's parents and that helmsman, and free any dragon she could. Don't be mad at her for doing what I told her to." Hiccup's jaw tightened. "Let's get Heather's parents out of here before Alvin can regroup." He said, "Plasma blast, blood! Give Gyda time to get those humans onto Shadowfire." Toothless did not hesitate. Astrid sighed. Soon all the dragons were in the air, were firing down at the space in between Shadowfire and the wild dragons. Astrid watched Gyda help the humans onto Shadowfire and pointed to the spikes on his back. The mage then looked at the 3 freed dragons and pointed to Hiccup, saying something that Astrid could not hear. The Whispering Death and the Changewing flew up to the riders, aiding to keep the wild dragons at bay. The Squadron dove into the waters, but sent a spray of water at a Nada that tried to go after the barrage. Shadowfire ran back away from the barrage, and soon was in the air next to Astrid and the Nada. "Heather?" a woman called. "No, ma'am," Astrid said. "We are friends of hers. She crashed near her island, and we came to get you." "Riders!" Hiccup called. "Head for home." End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one. So yes, they fulfilled the plan, but Hiccup's not happy that Gyda disobeyed orders. But I like that Astrid has her friends back. That's nice. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe, and hit that bell to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals, and albino pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.